Weiland had to be out of town, so I'm merging her material in with my presentation regarding the upcoming water run hearing for their interconnection line certificate of environmental compatibility, also called the CEC. We citizens finally got the procedural clarifications we've been seeking from the Arizona Corporation Commission's Office of General Counsel on participation at various levels in that upcoming hearing. They say they want public input, but they make it quite difficult for citizens to prepare without an attorney's assistance. Those answers did finally come last Friday in an email, which I've copied for you each as handout number 1. Important answers in it include how they count timeframes and what's involved to make a limited appearance. Now, I apologize for not being able to get these materials to you sooner. This has all been very recent developments, and I'm rather disappointed that your town attorney is not here to see his set that I prepared for him in person. We'll have to try to see if maybe Jessica can get those to him right away in the morning. Originally, our request was to ask the town to become a party to the proceedings, in other words, an intervener. However, that's no longer possible. Because they count only business days, yesterday was the deadline to file for that. But the info provided on the limited appearance option tells us it's actually a single written submission by any person or entity with an interest in the proceedings. Please see handout number 2, which is the sample format we were provided. It's stapled right behind handout number 1. And you'll see that it's a simple cover page brief by an attorney with the interested entity's letter attached as one or more exhibits. It must also show service to all other formal parties, such as the applicant and the other interveners. There is no word or page limit, but it must be filed no later than 5 business days before October 20th, which makes this Friday the 10th the deadline.
10 days.
Given that next Monday, the 13th, is a holiday. If we citizens help you with content for the exhibit, and specifically how to file it electronically, could your town attorney please make that happen? The exhibit filed with the limited appearance is guaranteed to be presented to all the line citing committee members for the hearing. General citizen comments that are submitted get no such guarantee. This way, the town does not have to budget for your attorney to do anything more than file this one legal document and serve it to the other parties. With yesterday's filing deadline for all interveners, their names and addresses should be available by tomorrow, we hope. Karen Glennon and I met this morning with Springerville's interim town manager. There's no time this week for their town council to vote on doing a limited appearance document. So we think enough of their council agreed that they can at least write another letter tearing onto their past letters that they did vote on against Lava Run. This new letter simply explains why the line citing committee should seriously consider including a site field visit to the location here as part of their hearing proceedings. They currently often do that, but this particular hearing they've not scheduled a site visit, and we're pushing very hard for that, so Springerville's agreed to write a letter to that, requesting that. Their town manager expects to file it by this Friday, but not as a limited appearance. As for the content of Eagar's exhibit, we felt that our community's tourism economy is the most threatened aspect of life here at risk to challenge Lava Run on. CEC factor numbers A5 and A6 require scenic areas, historic sites, and total environment of the area to be addressed. Linda Weiland used her 20 years experience as a professional land use planner with 9 years as the zoning administrator for Cochise County, Arizona. She used that experience to carefully review the applicant's visual resource analysis that is in Exhibit E of their CEC application. Copies of her assessment of their visual analysis are provided to you as handout number 3. This entire document could become your exhibit to submit for the town's limited appearance, if you so choose. Handout number 4 simply lists the factors the committee must consider for issuing the CEC. Now, one of Eagar's general plan policies is to, quote, establish Eagar as a good base of operations for hiking, mountain biking, camping, and other outdoor activities, close quote. Visual quality along Highway 60 as a key gateway to such activities is vital to maintain for our tourism-based economy, as well as quality of life for all citizens using Highway 60. Her paper refutes much of the company's visual quality analysis assumptions and procedures as flawed and deficient. She addresses every point on every page of their visual quality and is listed in their application. Using my limited training in conducting visual quality assessments for recreation as part of my forest management degree, I concur with Linda's findings. I think it is a soundly written paper that Eagar can endorse as a limited appearance exhibit. If you wish to see the company's visual resource section in their application with photos and simulations for their key observation points, that is Exhibit E. It's available online at the link shown on handout number 5. There's also a binder, paper copy of it on the front desk at the Round Valley Public Library for all the public to review. I encourage you to go take a look at that. And finally, we've provided you some pertinent maps and text handouts about the proposed interconnection line and the ground destruction it will promote by facilitating a wind farm, and that is on handout 6, which anyone who wants to write your own personal comments to this committee could certainly use some of the bullet points listed there. Given that all other community comments will have to be filed by us all as private citizens, Karen Glennon, she's provided some handouts for anyone interested to take after this meeting. These explain exactly where to go on the Corporation Commission's website with step-by-step instructions, how to submit your comments against the CEC for this company's interconnection line. And the actual official company's name they're going by is Apache County Wind, LLC. People can also phone in their 1-minute statement or go speak in person with a 3-minute speech. At this point, I want to end early to give up my final 7 minutes of my agenda time to allow you all to review handouts 1, 2, and 3. And then let's resume to answer any questions you may have at that time, please. I would really request that you look at those and consider a vote on whether you want to take the opportunity as a town to make a limited appearance with your attorney's assistance to file that. And if Linda Weiland's visual quality analysis of their work it would be an adequate exhibit for you to present on behalf of both towns, actually, since Springville is not able to participate at that level.
And you look at becoming an engineer, and that involved a lot of process. This is a much easier way that I think we can do, and I think what I present here, we could do real easy. Quick glance at this looks like it covers all the stuff we're talking about. It was done in a very professional manner, so I think that's the way to go.
Brad, do you have any input on this situation?
I've always felt like a limited motion to intervene would be appropriate rather than a full motion to intervene. The way I read the rule is 5 days before the hearing is the deadline to file either one, a motion to intervene or a limited motion. And I certainly can do either one. I will have those documents emailed over to me tonight and tomorrow. I've already got the drafts of the motion to intervene, prepared, and so we'll definitely be able to get them before the Corporation Commission, whichever way that the council wants to go. But I really think that the limited intervention is just more appropriate. I think it would, not get the town bogged into, a lot of things that it really doesn't need to address. But by limiting it, we will be able to voice our concerns, have the Corporation Commission consider it, and keep it within that scope, as opposed to having to respond to motions and get bogged down in discovery and things like that.
So your idea, it is within the scope of a town entity to be involved in this then, is that what you're?
I think that we have, the ability and the right to voice our position, and I think that going off of what the town has already drafted in its letter to the county regarding this is basically where I start on this. I think that the town has a legitimate, interest in this wind farm and can prepare a motion on this topic. If we don't intervene at all, the town can still present public comment, and a number of citizens have already done that. I've read through those that have been submitted, and it's basically a lot of the same concerns you've already been hearing, just voiced from the public. Doing an actual motion to intervene or a limited motion to intervene gives us a little bit more latitude and standing for being able to speak and address our concerns.
Any other questions from that?
Any, available to answer whatever questions, or at least try to answer whatever questions you may have. And I'll refresh your memory, he's referring to the February 12th letter that you all voted unanimously to sign and send to the county. And you did make some very good points in that letter, and I agree, that would be a good starting point, to introduce this additional exhibit and information, for the town to, at least participate on this limited appearance, to have a little bit more teeth in it than just each of us individually, any of you as individual citizens, submitting comments that may or may not get seen by the line citing committee. And in this way, you're not paying for your attorney to spend 5 days, all 5 days at the hearing. And again, if we were a full intervener, you would be looking at, Mr. Rigg would have to prepare, we citizens would have to rush to prepare a number of exhibits for him as well as evidence that would have to be submitted and shared with all the other parties that have signed up to be interveners. And noticed in a timely manner. Your attorney would have to attend all of the pre-conference hearings that are scheduled between now and the 20th. There's evidence that has to be piled up. There's witnesses that have to be listed. He has to prepare to cross-examine the witnesses for the company and their environmental consultants. And that's probably more work than it would be fair to ask him to do on such short notice. And we citizens are really working hard to address as many of those public comments as we can file on their electronic docket. We're finding a lot of holes in their application, a lot of weak spots, a lot of omissions that they should have covered that weren't covered. And we're doing our best to submit all those as citizens, and we're hoping and praying that they will see those and take them seriously. But coming under cover letter from your town attorney would definitely ensure a better chance of them heeding your concerns.
And I think, the public comment is definitely the simpler option. There's no procedural obligations. We're just basically stating our position, which other citizens have already done. As far as I can tell, no one has actually intervened in this case. You know, even if we are intervening for a limited purpose, we're still becoming a limited party to the proceeding, which, you know, it does require responding to motions, responding to discovery requests, filing documents on all the parties. But I would really envision that we're not gonna be doing a whole lot more other than intervening to show our position, and to make sure that the commission knows where the town stands on this. Whether that can be done through just a public comment versus motion to intervene, I think that's kind of the decision here. I think by doing a motion to intervene, we'll definitely have their attention more than just public comment, along with all the numerous other public comments that are being filed.
If I may add, the best way to defeat this proposed interconnection line project is to be able to specifically show where their application is deficient in those factors for the CEC that must be considered by the committee. And that's why I provided you that two-page document that shows those factors. And they're specific to the line, the interconnection line, and the 1 mile corridor on each side of the line. And that's why I provided you those maps so you can see where that line is proposed, how close it is to a major section of Highway 60. The fact that these new power poles they're proposing will be 180 feet tall compared to the Navapatchee electric power line poles that are already south of Highway 60. Those are only 60 feet tall. These will be 3 times taller than that. It crosses the highway at one point. It parallels the highway 60 for a good ways. 2 new substations that will be in view of Highway 60. It's a visual quality is probably the most strong thing that the town has to stand on. We are finding things with soils and geology and archaeology and other things that we citizens are going to hit them on, but that's too complex for you guys to handle without all the right facts and data to show that they should be denied based on those failing to meet those factors.
And I guess that's, you know, kind of my concern is the town equipped to, or does it even want to start raising these kind of issues that, you know, potentially could really bog it down and having to respond to the arguments on the other side that it is proper and appropriate and going back and forth, or does the town just want to limit its involvement to just state its position on what the town believes is not good for tourism and for the environment?
I know that I'm a little more comfortable with, as Brett said there at the last, kind of a limited, yes, from the town. I do worry a little bit about the town getting too bogged down in things, as far as our attorney goes and using town funds, to pay for that. And yes, we've had some public input, and I've witnessed it myself, both at community meetings and here, and I do believe there's strong opposition to that, but I also worry about spending town funds, to that call, so I'm a little hesitant on that as well, so.
Well, if I may point out that exhibit, handout 1, came directly from Mr. Counselor Sean Bodkin, who is the Senior Associate General Counsel from the Office of General Counsel for the Arizona Corporation Commission. And so his explanations on what it means to make a limited appearance really cleared our minds a lot on what that means and how to do it. And the example that he provided is handout number 2 there, which is just that simple attorney's brief with a simple letter attached by that particular mining company in that one example case. And so I guess what you all need to now decide is if you just want to do another similar letter like this as your exhibit, or if you want to hit them a little harder on their core quality of recreational resource analysis that they did, and that tie back to that factor that is right in the list of factors that the committee must consider, which, that would be factor A5, existing scenic areas, historic sites, and structures or archaeological sites at or in the vicinity of the proposed site. And they put a lot of emphasis on visual quality and scenic in that application process and in the application itself. That Exhibit E is a pretty thick section in their application on scenic quality and their analysis of what their project would or would not impact for all of our travelers along Highway 60 and beyond, people who can see it from a greater distance. And of course, it ushers in the wind farm, which will have massive visual impacts.
Any other questions from Monica? Any motion here?
I would move that we do a limited, notice of limited appearance and have our attorney review the visual impact study that was done and see how much of that we could include without having them to respond to people. If he thinks there'd be a limited amount of response to that, I think that this is good verbiage. This example that's here is good, so I move that we do the limited appearance and let Brett kind of decide how much to put in, which might limit the amount of time he'd have to spend in responding.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded to go forward with a minimal intervention, consisting of a letter, and we would, have Brett, look at that study as far as environmental impact, is that right, Mr. Greenwood?
I think the word you want to use is limited appearance, just the letter would be general, so limited
Okay.
appearance would be the correct.
Motion has been made and seconded to have a limited appearance, concerning this, lava wind farm and their proposed line. And we would have Brett, do some further research on that. So,
And I will gladly get with, if you'll be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll gladly get with you on providing that so you can get that over to Councilor Rigg as soon as possible.
all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.